have to draw the forcing frequency curves, response curves for various forcing frequencies, and to find out what is the resonant frequency. Yeah, so this is the setup. This is the motor, and this is the table, which has mass of 36 kg all along, and the flexible shaft is connected through the motor, and there is a smaller shaft which has slot. So you can find out the speed of this smaller shaft multiplied by 9.5. That will give you the speed of the flexible shaft, or the speed of the table. You can see from the side there are the gears which has eccentric masses. Two eccentric masses are placed, so that will produce two components of the vertical forces and two components of the horizontal forces, vertically up and vertically horizontal, equal and opposite. You can see here, this is one gear, this is another meshing gear, okay, and they have eccentric masses attached to this from the center, okay. While they are rotating, they are producing two horizontal component which are equal and opposite. They will get cancelled, and two vertical component that causes the table to vibrate in the vertical direction. And there are another set of gears on the other side also, which has also the eccentric mass. So the total component of the eccentric mass will be 4 m naught e omega square. If m naught is the mass of this eccentric mass, e the eccentricity, and this is omega t, so you will have 4 m naught e omega square sine omega t. So this is the angle. Horizontal component will get cancelled, vertical component will get added. M naught is the eccentric mass, which is 32 point, how much it is? 32.5 grams. Something, the value will be given to you, eccentricity is given to you, and omega you can find out from the motor. So you can see here a graph paper is attached over here. First of all, you find out the stiffness of the spring by initially seeing the position of the pointer, and then placing certain weight on this table. It will get compressed. So force per unit deflection from the graph, you can see, if you find out from here, the force per unit deflection, that will give you the stiffness of the spring. Now you can run the motor and see, set it at maximum amplitude, where it is oscillating with maximum amplitude of vibration. That means the resonant condition is there, okay. So this will be the resonant condition. We can set it manually. Roughly this can be treated as a resonant condition, means for the natural frequency of the system. Once you know the spring constant and you know the mass of the entire table as 36 kg, so you can find out what is the natural frequency of this system under root k by m, and then while running it, you find out the mean find out the mean amplitude of vibration from this graph paper, which is fixed on this vertical scale, and find out the time for certain oscillation of this smaller clock. You can see that there is a slot. You note down the time for certain oscillation or rotation of this shaft, and multiplied by 9.5, that will give you the speed of the flexible shaft. And for two sets, decrease the speed, note down the mean amplitude, note down the speed, and two sets for by increasing the speed. So that will give you the you can have 5 points at least for plotting the graph. One at the resonant condition, two before that, and two after that. So you can get that displacement curve out of this setup. You can change the natural frequency by placing certain weight. Now this entire mass was 36 plus say 5 kg, 41 kg. So once it becomes 41 kg, so its natural frequency is changed, because natural frequency is under root k by m. And you repeat the same thing, find out run it at its maximum position, maximum oscillation, that will be resonant condition, nearly resonant condition, and note down the time for certain oscillation of the smaller shaft and find out the mean value of the displacement from this graph paper. And repeat the same thing for by decreasing 2 sets of the speed and increasing 2 sets of this. At least you can have maximum number of points, that will be better because you have to plot the displacement curve. And if you see, you will see the relationship between that we will do in the theory class. X over xxt comes out to be 1 minus r square whole square plus 2 zeta r whole square whole under root. And what is xxt? xxt is the f naught by k. And what is f naught? F naught is 4 m naught e omega square sin omega t divided by k. K you have already determined, and for maximum value sin theta will be 1. So this will be 4 m naught e omega square by k. So you can find out what is xxt. M naught is given, e is given, omega you will measure, k you have already determined. So x you will determine for each set of readings. So you have to plot a curve between this frequency amplitude ratio versus frequency ratio, omega by omega n. This is also known as R. So the shape will be, if R is equal to 0, if R is equal to 0, what is happening? This is equal to 1. So it means it will start from 1, and you should get the graph something like this, and here the ratio is nearly equal to 1. So you have to repeat by changing the natural frequency, you will get another curve and another curve. So that's what you have to do. For this you have to plot the response curves versus frequency ratio, that is the x over xxt versus omega by omega n, and repeat it for 2-3 sets by changing the natural frequency of the system. That will give you the plot. Here I will just repeat, the flexible shaft is provided in order to incorporate the vertical motion of the table. Had it been a straight shaft, there is possibility of breakage of the shaft because it is vibrating in the vertical direction. So rest we can discuss in the class.